Hello world, Wendy from Cali here, back with another mixed Manny chat. Today we are tackling the Manny Bingo Square entitled Inspired by Your Favorite Flavor of Ice Cream. And my favorite flavor of ice cream comes from a local ice cream shop called Fossilman's in Alhambra, California. And chocolate dipped strawberry looks like this as ice cream form, but I really wanted to do a chocolate dipped strawberry or chocolate covered strawberry inspired Manny. So I'm going to be using, for the chocolate, Merino Mood, and then for the strawberry I'm using Holly Berries, and then for the, what do you call the green part? Is a stem? I don't know what. But for the green part of the strawberry, I'm using Queen of Green, one of my most favorite greens. And I just wanted to show off my glowing Independence Day Manny, which had Blue and Peru, Glow Getter and Techno Glow, and Firecracker, and it glowed in the dark. And the two desserts I had made for Independence Day, if you guys saw my last video when I did the mixed Manny for Independence Day, I made banana pudding and I made an icebox cake that was red, white, and blue basically. And everyone pretty much loved both desserts, so it was a success. The whole Independence Day weekend was a success, only because I finished all of my work very late into Thursday night and was able to focus on family, food, and fun. My three favorite F's the whole weekend. So yes, let's get started on this mixed Manny, shall we? The first thing I need to do, which I already did, I took off my old nails and I used Nail Aid Keratin 3-Day Growth, because this problem child finger is really short right now. The rest of them I've cut pretty short, but not all the way as short as the problem child finger. So hoping that this very distracting looking mixed Manny will trick the eye into thinking that all of the nails are the same length. But we definitely are going to lay down the berries first. And I'm going to open these here and get started. We want to do holly berries first to get down the strawberry part. And then this Manny's actually inspired by Angela Stalter. For those who are part of Stacy's Sassy Crew or Shannon's Chic and Sassy VIP groups on Facebook, Angela Stalter had an awesome strawberry Manny that she did that I saved in my phone for reference, which I really should have sent it over to my other phone so that I can show off what that looks like. But I will share it in my Facebook group just as for comparison purposes once I get this Manny done. But definitely was inspired by her mixed Manny. First, let me make a nail stick for holly berries because this is my first time using it. And I like to do these nail sticks to kind of keep track of which color street sets that I've used. So, alright, let's get started here. I'm going to use the smallest of the small sets for my pinkies because they're going to mostly get covered by the chocolate and the Queen of Green, the little green part of the strawberry, so it's not going to be too bad if not the whole nail will be covered by the strawberry part, because again, it will be layered. But, alright. I do love this color because it's like almost jelly-like. which gives it a very summer feel to me, even though Holly Berries is from, I think, one of the Christmas releases that we've had with Color Street. But it really does look like berries, which, nod to strawberries, my chocolate dipped strawberry favorite flavor of ice cream. As well as, you know, we had strawberries in one of the desserts, the icebox dessert that I made. So definitely worth doing this mani now. Tomorrow is actually National Chocolate Day. Or no, not national. World Chocolate Day. It's World Chocolate Day tomorrow. And so I was making a chocolate loaf before getting ready to do my nails here, and I'm excited to give the chocolate loaf to my sister-in-law, Mama Carla, who she and her man Edgar, as well as his daughter Allison, her kiddos, my nieces Amalika and Lilith, and then Panda Bear, my significant other, Uncle Panda, and myself. We all went to the local pool today, and one of the biggest reasons we did that was because I wanted to have a chance to teach the girls how to swim. They've been taking swimming lessons here and there and have not really been doing so well with progressing from the lessons. So I really wanted a chance to just take them to the pool myself and teach them in auntie's style. So we did that today and actually worked really well. Amalika, the youngest one, is 6 going on 7. She was the most afraid. She did not want to stick her head underwater, even though she had goggles, and we were practicing breathing and all of that before we even got into the pool area. And she was the most scared little thing. But in the end, she was super brave. She definitely learned how to stick her head underwater, hold her breath. I was throwing my little keychain. I got a little keychain from a Tupperware sale that I had purchased probably 2 years ago, actually. But I'll show you guys really quick the keychain. It's like a mini version of the little Tupperware toy. But I took that and threw it in the pool for the girls to swim down to the bottom and basically retrieve it. It was really to distract them. Distract them from, their fear of getting their full face underwater and their fear of, not being able to hold their breath long enough. When you have them doing something where it's like a fun competition and they're focused on that task instead of their fear, it really does help them overcome their fear. And that's what I learned, and that's what I was telling Uncle Panda too with the swim lessons that the girls have been taking. The instructors are doing a fine job, but they're really young. They don't oftentimes know how to deal with children with a lot of fear. So again, I really wanted to help with that. Mind you, when I learned to swim, I was not the best. I still am not the best swimmer. But I don't have that kind of fear of water, at least not swimming pool water. I do still have a fear of the ocean because the ocean's super deep and unknown, and there's a lot of, creatures under the deep blue sea that I'm just like, yeah, no, thank you. I'll pass on that. But swimming pool wise, not afraid. So I wanted to have them go through Auntie's little swim school. So I did that. And tomorrow the girls have their own 20-minute private lessons again with the swim instructors. So I made them promise me that they will listen to their swim instructor and do whatever she says. And also told them that they need to brag and show off to the swim instructor as to what they've learned over the weekend so that she can see their progress. So I won't be there to be able to see what happens because I have work, but Uncle will fill me in on our car ride home when he picks me up late from the office tomorrow. So we shall see if the girls are true to their word. But they did with their swim lessons with Auntie today. They earned McDonald's and they earned their iPad time back, which was taken away because they were not, their fear was taking over and they were pretty much wasting swim lessons. We were paying for swim lessons and they were wasting the poor instructor's time and effort because they were not listening. They were negotiating with the instructor and, that's not cool. You gotta feel for those young swim instructors, they deal with a lot of different personalities. They never know, what the kids are going to be like. And it's weird because the girls were not so afraid at the beginning and then they got afraid. There was a point where Lilith had disobeyed, she didn't listen to the swim instructor. Swim instructor told her this was a semi-private lesson she and Amalika were having together, and the swim instructor told Lilith to hang by the wall and practice her, I think it was practice her floating and her breathing. And Lilith got too cocky and overconfident and thought, oh, I can let go of the wall while floating. And for a moment, we watched her and she was doing it and we're like, hey, look, she's actually doing it. But then fear took over and she started to panic and she literally started drowning. Which, if she didn't panic, if she didn't focus on the fear and she actually focused on her surroundings, she would have seen that all she had to do was stick her feet down. She was in a pool area where she can actually stand on tippy toe and not have the water, her face underwater. But fear took over, and when fear takes over, a person tends to sink. So you gotta let go. And if you let go and trust and have faith, you will float. So now she's actually really good at floating, because today when we were at the pool, Lilith was floating no problem. She's still having a little bit of problem with actual swimming, the motions of kicking and using your arms to propel you in a forward motion. We were all just staying in the very like shallow end of the pool, mostly for Amalika's sake. And also the pool area was just very busy. So we were staying in the pretty shallow area. I think it was like 2.5 to 3.5 feet. And Amalika was able to also stand, so she wasn't as afraid. But I need to get to a point with her where she feels comfortable enough to go into a deeper water. Also, she's gotten really afraid. Like, for some reason, she does not want to float on her back. So I've been having her lean her arms against the swimming pool, like edge, the wall, and float on her back that way. And she seems to be okay doing that. But as far as being in someone's arms, she has humongous trust issues, not being able to see when someone is supporting her or holding her. And so we need to figure out how to work on overcoming that, having her overcome that fear. So, you know, baby steps. I had a whole like lesson plan. The teacher in me, the wannabe teacher in me, I had a whole lesson plan in mind for today for the pool, and we got through a lot of it. So it was really nice to have been able to get through a lot of the lessons with the girls. You know, before, like I said, before we even got into the pool area, I had them practice breathing in with their mouth, holding their breath for 5 seconds at first, and then breathing out with their mouth, trying to get them used to not breathing with their nose, because they tend to inhale a lot of water, which was one of the things that they were complaining about, and you know, it was preventing them from like progressing with swim lessons, because they just really were not understanding how they were supposed to be breathing. So that was the first thing I taught them. And then the second thing was teaching them to put their faces underwater and do the same breathing. So we did 5 seconds, then 10 seconds, then 15 seconds. And then we practiced putting their head underwater, and I was counting underwater for them before they can resurface, and I was telling them to blow their bubbles out with their mouth, trying to get them not to use their noses, because again, whenever they get water up their nose and they inhale water through their nose, that stops their progress, and it's just really frustrating sometimes, because if they're not listening, then that's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, sorry. Holly Berry's base coat, base color I should say, is the strawberry. We're gonna dip the strawberry. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do the green first. Queen of Green, we're going to do the little strawberry leaves part next. And then we'll dip that strawberry into chocolate to complete the look. So let's do this. And Queen of Green is one that I've used many times before. This is, like I said, one of my most favorite greens. So I've purchased multiples of this color, especially when they've had sales. So this is actually one of 2 sets I had left in my collection, in my stash. So I don't feel bad opening up another set to do this. And I won't have to use too many of these strips because we are going to be cutting them. So But you can see here in my house in Southern California, I don't have central air or air conditioning. So when it gets hot and humid like the summer has been, when it gets over 72 degrees inside the house, sometimes you get melty strips like this. But melty strips are not bad when you're already going to be cutting them. So I really don't care that they're a little melty, because like I said, we're going to be cutting them and placing them. So I need them to look like this. Strawberries have kind of a pointed look with the leaves, kind of like that. Good thing I remembered to keep my tweezers out. I knew I had to use them today. But yeah, swim lessons, where are we? Practice breathing. Next, I had them hold on to the edge of the pool and practice kicking, trying to get their body straight. And kicking, so that they're used to the kicking motion. And then when Amalika finally conquered her fear of sticking her face underwater, she really wanted to play the game of fetching the treasure. We originally had this green ring that I saw that the girls had at home, and we brought that green ring hoping that it would, sink to the bottom of the pool for them to go fetch. But turns out that plastic ring was not heavy enough, so it was floating. So that one we left for Allison to play with a little bit. We would throw it to like the middle of the pool and have her like swim to it and pick it up and bring it back. And that's where, the other toy, the keychain that I brought, came in handy. So I had them fetching that. So they had fun sitting crisscross applesauce down on the bottom of the pool, and also like propelling their bodies down to the bottom of the pool to reach for the treasure that Auntie threw down there. So yeah. And then they also had lots of fun. Lilith and Amalika swimming to the adults and to Allison. Allison already knows how to swim, like, really well. She probably swims better than I can. But the girls took turns swimming to each of us for a while. The pool got really crowded, and they actually they started late and then they closed early. So we weren't quite sure what was happening there, but it's okay. We had at least like a little over 2 hours at the pool, and that was plenty to get all of us sunburnt. We all have color for sure. So we celebrated Independence Day in style. So yeah. That was today. And what did I say? I was making a chocolate loaf for my sister-in-law for tomorrow's World Chocolate Day. Yesterday, Saturday, Amalika did have a swim lesson, but I'm going backwards, I know, but it's how I remember stuff, so we're just gonna go with it. Saturday, swim lesson. Malika was really scared. She did not want to float on her back. And that was actually one of the reasons that sparked me wanting to take them to the pool the very next day, so I can work with them on other things to kind of have them overcome the fear of, you know, being in the water. So we'll see how she does tomorrow at her swim lesson, because I do know that the swim instructor is likely going to ask her to float on her back again, and you know, we'll see. They did promise me, they promised Auntie that they were going to listen to their instructor and not negotiate, so we will see. But Saturday, besides the swim lesson, we had gotten donuts for Benjamin, my nephew, our nephew, because that's what he wanted. And when we went to go get donuts, the place that we went to, it was really late in the afternoon. So donuts are usually things you want to kind of get like earlier in the day, because, you know, not many donut places are open that late. Because donuts are usually like a morning thing. People oftentimes think of getting donuts for breakfast, not like an afternoon snack. But Benjamin, you know, Uncle asked Benjamin what did he want, and he said donuts, so we were determined to get him some donuts. So, ooh, that did not work out very well, did it? Okay, let's see, maybe this might actually work for the pinky. Yeah, this one will work for the pinky. We don't need 3. So when we took the girls after swim lesson to donuts, the owner of the donut shop actually came out with a tray of the leftover donuts. There was only one tray left of some random donuts. Luckily, a lot of those random donuts were glazed, just plain glazed, which is what Benjamin usually likes. But he also has been surprising us and eating like coconut, the ones with coconut shavings on it. And then he'll also sometimes eat, they have one that's like a cinnamon roll. Sometimes he'll eat that one too. So we got a bunch of plain glazed donuts, as well as, let's see if we, would this one fit for this one? It looks like it will. So let's cut this and see if we can do this right. Hold on, but we do need one here too. Alright, gonna have to cut it steeper. And since it's a fruit, it doesn't have to be very uniform when I'm cutting. This might actually work better for the thumb. No. This one's gonna be, we're gonna have to cut a different one for the thumb. This one's gonna work for the pointer. There we go. Let's cut that off. But look at that, we're getting strawberries. And then all I gotta do is cover them with chocolate dipped strawberries. But yeah, the donut shop owner, because it was his last tray of donuts and we were buying a dozen donuts, he ended up giving was it 2 or 3? I mean, I understand donut shops giving like 1 extra donut for a baker's dozen, but he ended up giving us a few free donuts because of the girls. They're just so cute. They're darn cute. And yeah, Uncle was joking about how he needs to take them out more often because getting free stuff is fun. But yeah, Also, on our way to the donut shop, Uncle was playing music. He was playing DJ for the girls. And Allison, who's a Taurus like me, is sometimes kind of a scatterbrain like me. Like, I call it Dory brain. Like, our memories are just not the best. And it was her turn to pick a song, and she was like, oh, that Villains mix. And we were like, where's it from? She's like, I don't know, YouTube? And Uncle's like, okay, Villains mix is kind of like so general that we were like, what the heck? Like, how do we know what a Villains mix is? And he had pulled it up on his phone on YouTube, and there were all these different options to choose from. And I was like, okay, let's pick this one. And of course, it ended up being the right one. Allison was like, that's it. And it was funny because we were like, what? Like, how did I figure it out? Well, I was like, okay, what does Allison like usually? And what does her dad like usually? And what fits their vibe? And so the thing that stood out the most was anime. And so I was like, okay, maybe that's it. But then I guess I got lucky. So then Panda Bear was like, you need to go get Lotto. So we were at a donut shop. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting Lotto scratchers because Panda did say get Lotto. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get Lotto. Which I haven't had a chance to scratch them yet because we've been so busy. But that's okay. I will eventually scratch them, and hopefully it's lucky. Hopefully I am lucky and we'll have winnings instead of, you know, paying for entertainment. I always I'm like whatever about it. If I don't win, I'm just like, well, I paid for my entertainment. Because when I get Lotto scratchers, I get the ones that have like, it's like a game. So like, you know, whether it's bingo or it's crosswords, I tend to get those, even though the odds on those are not as good as some of the other Lotto scratchers. But I like the game aspect of it because if I don't end up winning anything, at least I don't feel bad because I basically just paid for my entertainment and the adrenaline rush of like playing the bingo or playing the crossword and hoping that I end up getting a winning scratcher. So, you know, that to me is more fun than just getting a plain old Lotto scratcher. Some people that are like addicted to Lotto scratchers will sometimes just scratch off. They won't even play the game of the scratcher, and they just scratch off like the barcode and go scan the barcode to see if they won, which I feel like is a waste of money. Because for me, Lotto scratchers, yes, of course, winning would be great, but it's a form of entertainment. So, alright, here's the strawberry. We gotta do it on this hand too. So we're gonna start with the thumb here because we've got this big strip left. So let's cut that to fit with what we want. I want to cut up, cut a triangle out, get rid of that so we can get the strawberry part. Alright, I need to cut this one more at an angle to get that off there. So Saturday, played a bunch of, no, that was actually 4th of July was when I played a bunch of board games with the girls. And we had played Cookie Crumble, we played Shark Bite, which was funny because Uncle also put on Jaws for the girls to watch, which the littlest one, Amalika, was exposed to Jaws at a very young age. And we thought that she would have nightmares from watching Jaws, but actually she loves Jaws. Like, to the point where Mama Carla and Edgar bought a book from Barnes & Noble about Jaws and have been reading it to Amalika, and she's like recalling all the characters when we were watching the movie. She's like, oh yeah, and then that's this person, and we're like, oh my gosh, like she's like literally like super into Jaws. So we're excited because we are planning on taking them to Universal Studios Hollywood next month for their big trip before school starts. So the littlest one, Amalika's already called dibs on sitting closest on the tram, the studio tram, to where Jaws is going to show up. And she's like, I'm going to punch it in the nose. It's so cute. Anyways, Friday, Independence Day, was a lot of fun because, again, played a bunch of board games. Got to play Goosebumps game for the first time. They had, for Lilith's birthday, we had purchased her Goosebumps, what do you call it? A Goosebumps Horrorland, the whole series for her to read. And she's been reading them. How did I cut this before? Oh yeah. Sorry. Brain fart. Was just trying to like figure out. Anyways, so she has these Goosebumps Horrorland books that she's been reading since her birthday last month, and Mama Carla and Edgar had purchased a Goosebumps board game for the kiddos to play, and it's very like reminiscent of a game that my coworker had told us about with these like monsters and stuff like that, where you're playing as a team to kind of defeat these monsters, and you can either make a move, you can investigate, you can get help. Oh, what was the last one? There was 4 different things you could do. Anyways, long story short, I hadn't played the game yet with them, and so we played 4th of July, and that was a lot of fun. We actually finished the game super fast. And then we also did the back neighbors, did some fireworks first, and then we did some fireworks too that Uncle bought. And I had made this crack chicken dish that I was looking for a dip for chips, and there was one called crack chicken where you use chicken breast, bacon, cream cheese, cheddar cheese, chicken broth, and some seasonings that basically gave you like a ranch type of flavor. So like dill weed, onion powder, garlic powder, and some other things. And you make it in the Instant Pot, and then you can finish it off in the oven and broiler. And I had made it on Thursday night for us to bring Friday for Independence Day. I had also Thursday night, like I said, I finished all of the work helping plan for my manager's trip to go see clients this week. And so we had finished late into the night. So as far as making desserts and stuff like that, I had to save that for Friday. So I woke up really early Friday to make desserts. So I had made the banana pudding and I made the icebox cake. And what else did I do? I can't remember what else. Oh, I had made a sourdough bread, sandwich bread, but I wanted to try a new way of doing it this time. So instead of using butter, I used applesauce because I wanted to make it low fat or no fat really, but I made that as well as the normal no fat pizza dough that I typically make for Panda Bear for us to eat on our very low fat days. And because we had to leave to go to Mama Carla's house for a certain time, I brought all of that with me, the desserts, the cracked chicken, and the bread dough and pizza dough with me. So when I was over there, I had to also kind of pay attention to the bread doughs, which they rose super quick because it was a hot day. So when it comes to bread, it's really dependent timing wise on how hot your home is. And it was a very warm day yesterday. Not yesterday, 4th of July. So the bread dough was pretty much done. I was able to bake the bread at Mama Carla's house using her oven, which if you guys have been watching my videos on this channel, you know here at home all we got that's working right now is a toaster oven, a tiny toaster oven. So it was kind of nice to have a normal sized oven to bake the bread. The pizza though, I don't know if it's gonna end up being good or not because it rose a little too much. It's only supposed to rise a certain level, grow by 50% more than what the original dough looked like, and it had grown 200% almost. So when I was working with it, it was very sticky. It wasn't as elastic as it should be and smooth. So we will see. I'm probably gonna make the pizzas on Friday. No, not Friday. Tuesday. I'm probably gonna make the pizza on Tuesday. So we will see how it turns out, because I did end up, separating them into their own little containers and sticking them in the freezer. But consistency, we'll have to see. But the last time I made these pizzas, and we can't even really call them pizzas, they're more like tomato pies, because when we're doing low fat days, no cheese, no oils, literally tomatoes. So I use whole tomatoes, making sure they're San Marzano tomatoes from a can. Crush them and add a little bit of seasoning, and that's it. And then the dough is literally just a sourdough starter along with salt, flour, water. That's it. No fats or anything like that. So yeah, it's very tasty if it's made right. The consistency is like a crispy, crusty, yummy, almost like a flatbread, almost like a cracker kind of consistency when it's done right. So we will see if this dough is going to be up to par. But I did use, so if you guys know, I love using TopCashBack and getting cash back on my purchases. And then when I save up enough to get a gift card, it's like an extra percentage that you get from certain retailers. And so I did that with Walmart. And I purchased more of the San Marzano tomatoes. DOP certified. I think DOP stands for Department of Produce. I'm not sure, but we will see if what I ordered is up to par flavor wise, because I ordered from a new seller, and this seller only sells them in like quantities of 6, so I had to purchase 6 cans, which was like $35, I think it was, which isn't bad, because sometimes those cans of tomatoes could be like $9-10 a can. So 6 at $35 isn't too bad. But of course, it's only not too bad if it actually tastes amazing. So I will definitely report back and let you all know if it was worth the purchase when we get those and use them for our tomato pies. But during the 4th of July, during Independence Day, my sister Michelle, who lives in Utah, had sent me a text asking if I had time to talk about her trip, because her family's going to be coming to Southern California hold on, before I go into that, here are the strawberries. We're gonna hurry up and dip them because I'm getting close to almost an hour long here on this video, but let's get dipping. So let me put these away. Let's talk about Michelle. So Michelle asked if she can call me so we can talk about when she is in town, and so I called her, got to see my nephew Calvin and my niece Lorelai, which I showed them. I was on FaceTime with my sis, so I was like having introductions for Lorelai to Amalika and Lilith and Allison. And Lorelai, she's super shy when she first meets any strangers, so she did not even say a thing, even though Amalika and Lilith and Allison were saying hi to her. She was just kind of quiet, and it was just funny. But she will get to meet, when she is in Southern California, she'll get to meet the girls in person, because we will be babysitting one of the Saturday evenings while they're here. So they'll get to play some board games, card games, all that good stuff while we are babysitting them. And while my sister and her husband get to enjoy some time out with her friends that she's seeing while she's in SoCal. She's trying to maximize. This is my sister always. Whenever she travels, she tries to maximize like all her time. Like, she and her husband and usually her kids are like out and about like every single day. Like, there's rarely a time where they're just like chilling. So anyways, there's like this itinerary already for, luckily I took the whole week off, and I need to take 2 more days off because we're doing Universal Studios that following Monday and Tuesday. So I need to make sure I have those days off of work so we're able to logistically do everything. All right, what I want to do is cut tips, and I need my trusty scallop hole punch because that I find is how I like my tips. So here it is. I'm going to try to punch it from the side this time though, except for the thumb. The thumb I'm still going to punch. And let's do the thumb first. So just stick it in like this. Trying to make it look like chocolate. All right. Just like that. So it looks like chocolate dipped strawberry. Like, it's such a subtle, like, little crinkle there, but I love it. All right. Let's get the other thumb. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fun things happening. So in August, whatever mixed Manny chat that I'll be doing, you'll probably get a recap of all of the fun. And let's see here. Boom. Okay. This weekend just flew by. It was one of the only rare 3-day weekends. We don't have that many paid holidays because the business I work for is like a very small company. There's like 25 of us. So it was very nice to not have to do any work though during the weekend because I've been working a lot of weekends to play catch up with all the projects that have been thrown our way. So again, very, very glad that didn't have to work this weekend. All right. Kind of sad that the weekend's over, but I'm also ready to take on tomorrow, especially because I have the cutest Manny for World Chocolate Day with my chocolate dipped strawberries. Totally fitting. And I'm excited to take a taste test of the chocolate loaf that I made for my sister-in-law Carla. Gotta make sure that it tastes alright before I let Panda Bear take it over to her tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure it will. Oh, shoot. Stick. Sometimes you gotta just use your tools and not force it with Color Street, because your natural oils on your nails will prevent them from sticking, especially because I'm layering and layering and layering and my fingers have been touching everything. So you can use a file instead of using force. I've been using force to peel off the nail strips, as you've been seeing. So sometimes you gotta just do it the way that Color Street has told us we're supposed to do it, which is to file it off, not peel it off. But you know, for us veterans that have been using Color Street for a few years now, we have our own little ways of doing things that usually work just fine. So, alright. Here we go. We are almost done here. I've ran out of things to say because I want to say I've pretty much told you all about the whole Independence Day weekend and what's in store this week. Nothing much. My manager will be traveling for business, so that means work-wise it's going to be busy for me, at least. So just gotta keep on keeping on. Oh, I know what I can talk about. Let's talk about what books I've been reading. So I mentioned that my niece Amaryllis is reading the Goosebumps Horrorland books. Well, Auntie decided that she would also read the books along with Lilith so that I can talk with her about the stories. So I finally finished book 1. It took me a while, Revenge of the Living Dummy. And I've moved on to book 2, which is Creep from the Deep, which right now, as it stands from what I read so far, I'm not really understanding, like, what is so scary about the second book. All I know, there are some disappearances of characters and some zombie skeletons. I don't know, it's a really weird book, so I haven't quite fully grasped. Okay, you know what? I'm a little worried that my nails are too oily, so I'm going to just touch it up with the nail prep pad really quick so that I can make sure that the other nails are going to stick, because I do not want them to fall off. I've done so much work already here as is that it's like, no, you need to stay. Please stay. Alright. But Creep from the Deep is the next book that I'm reading, and I got through like a third of the book. So I only read those books. I originally borrowed the first one, brought it home with me to read, but it was too much trouble to find time to read it, because I really want to just read my, like, chick lit, my smut is what I sometimes call the books that I read. Not on purpose, it's just sometimes that's how women's literature is. It's like, not like all the chapters are like that, but there are certain chapters of those books where, you know, the heroine, not to be confused with the drug, the heroine, you know, ends up in a compromised position. I don't know how else to sugarcoat that, but I don't read those books for that. I read it for the feels. Like, usually with women's literature, you get the different emotions, like, you deal with as far as, you know, dealing with love, with family, and that's what I read them for. So, yes, sometimes there are compromised little scenes in the book, but it's not what I live for. But yeah, right now the books that I'm either reading or listening to, there's 2 different authors that I am doing that with. Emily Henry, right now the current book that I'm listening to in audiobook form. And mind you, I usually just take whatever the library app I've got has available for me. So right now I'm listening to Beach Read, which I guess is the first book. And finally, the library app has my Colleen Hoover box set of books. What were they called? Something about hope. There's the word hope somewhere in there. I just finished Ugly Love, but now I'm back on these hope books, which I don't remember the name of the books right now. But there's like a box set of like 5 books. So that just became available again today. So I'll be reading that when I have some spare time. So yeah, right now those are the 2 authors that I've been reading or listening to. Hoping that I make time. I will make time, actually. My favorite Canadian author, Heather Wardell, the pre-order book that I purchased from her became available June 30th. So I'm also going to start reading that book, which has something to do with Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. So we shall see what that book is about. Now, I can't remember if Merino Mood, if I've used this one before or not, so I'm not going to make a nail stick of it. But later on, if I do find that I don't have a nail stick of it, I will make one. But we got this finger and this finger left. I wonder if I could do it with just the one strip. I might be able to do it with just the one strip. Let's try not to waste the strips, because I need enough to do another mani by itself. If I have short nails, this amount of strips should be enough for that. So let's see if I can do this properly. If I cut one, not too far down, like that, and then I'm gonna peel it like this so that I can cut that edge off later too. I should be able to use one nail strip for the 2. Alright, that's going to take a little bit of work to clean that up, but that's okay, because we're doing it. We are doing it. Yes. Here's the last one. I know this video is really long, but you know what? It's been a 3-day holiday weekend, and I used 3 sets today. 3 sets to do this mixed mani. So usually when I'm doing mixed manis and it includes more than 1 set and I have to cut and punch, it will take a little bit of time. But hopefully you guys were entertained by my vlog style video here of this past weekend, and kind of an instructional, you know, if you wanted to make a chocolate dip strawberry mani, maybe this helped as far as inspiration. That's all I got for you guys for now. If you watched all the way through, obviously strawberry emoji, right? Because look at these little strawberries, this chocolate dipped strawberries. But not just strawberry emoji, ice cream emoji too. Strawberry emoji and ice cream emoji if you watched this video all the way through. Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, share this with whoever you think might like vlog style videos of somebody doing their nails, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.